I have lost on time 4 times in the last 7 years. And there comes a time, my friends, when you either make the time or you'll lose it altogether. 7 years ago, a friend of mine called Catherine, who we did everything together with, kept telling me about the fact that we just don't make time to talk about the things that matter to us. We had time for the media schedules and for the client briefs. We had time for the work that needed to be done. We always met for that. And at the end of those meetings, she would say, we have to do our lunch. We've got to do that coffee. And I'd say yes. Then one day, she called and she said, listen, I'm going to hospital for 3 days. When I come out, I'll be recovering at my mother's house. So you come and see me. Let's do this. I opened my calendar and I put her in. Catherine went to hospital. She had surgery. She woke up. 12 hours later, she slipped into a coma. And in the 3 days before they switched off the life support machine, nobody would let me see her. Not at the advertising agency where she worked, and not at Radio Africa. They knew I couldn't handle it. Then one morning, her brother called me at about 6:15 and said, she's gone. I ran out of time. I was supposed to see her. We talked about it. I put it in the calendar. But somehow there's always time for everything else but the catch-up. There comes a time when if you don't make the time, you run out of time. 3 years ago this September, on a Saturday morning, I ran out of time again. Regina and I have always been thick as thieves. I still don't know how to talk about my sister in the past tense. I will learn. We spoke and we texted every day, and I called her. Anybody who knows me will tell you my boundaries are very wide, my walls are very high. It takes a lot to get to me. But there was always a safe space with my sister Regina. So we would do this thing we call the giggly lunches, where we would start lunch at 12:30, 3 glasses of wine, both of us. And then at about 5:36, when the dinner crowd started walking into the same restaurant we'd had lunch, would leave. That's how long we'd chat for. And she and I kept saying, we've got to do one of those. So the WhatsApp messages would happen every day, the SMSs, the phone calls, and she sees something. And the beautiful thing about having a sister, and especially a sister like mine, is that there's no judgment. She told me what she was going through. I tell her what I'm going through. We laugh, we gossip about everybody we know, and then we drink more wine. And it was always clear that when we did do the lunch, it would have to be Saturday. On the Saturday morning, I got the call that Regina was gone. I ran out of time again. Earlier this year, I ran out of time twice. Everybody knows about Janet Kanini Kua. What they don't know is Janet was family. Her father was our family doctor forever and a day. And initially when Janet was going through her issues, she'd call me. She'd say, so was it a blood clot for Regina? I'm going to have that checked. Was it this? I'm having that checked. I'm going to this, I'm going to that. And at some point, she disappeared. And I probably found out about her cancer 24 hours before you all did. But she's a fighter. We Valley Road girls are built like that. So I always knew she was going to pull through. And she pulled through, and we had a cup of coffee, and we talked, and she said, you know, there are things we need to talk about, misdiagnosis, the issues we have, cancer, and also medical insurance that doesn't actually pull its weight in this country. But she'd just come home. And I told her, you go do you. You got a husband you need to love again, kids you need to know, and God knows everybody wants to talk to you in media. So we spoke, and we texted, and she called. The last time I saw her is when she was flaunting her new look, where she had cut off the hair, gotten rid of the wig. She was done with that nonsense. But the deal was we would sit down and talk. In April, I ran out of time again. We lost Kanini. And 2 weeks later, I ran out of time with Githai. Githai is a kind of friend everybody needs to have because he would, from nowhere, send an email in beautiful English and say, "Miss Mutoko, when can I have the pleasure of your company?" And I would tell him, "Githai, not today, how about next week?" And yes, he would rally everybody around and we would all go to lunch and have a laugh. But often he would say, "But I need my time with you. Just you and me. So when do we do a drink? When do we do lunch? I can do breakfast." And I always said, "Come on, Githai, you know how busy I am, but you know I'm going to find the time." And I cancelled twice on Githai. In April, just as I was getting used to the idea of Kanini going, I ran out of time. Githai went. Why am I telling you this? Because you do this thing, whether you're in Nairobi, in New York, in Barcelona. You will run into people today in the foyer and say, "Let's do lunch. I haven't seen you in a while. Let's do coffee. Are you free next week?" And you'll say, "Yes." But the day will come and you won't make it happen. I would give anything to have my lunch date with Catherine. I ran out of time. I would give anything for that call on that Saturday morning on the 13th of September to have my giggly lunch date with Regina. I ran out of time. I would give anything to be able to sit down with Kanini and find out what it is she needed me to say, because she kept reminding me, "Your YouTube channel can do this for me." I ran out of time. I'll do anything to have Githai laugh at some of the things he believes that we all take too seriously, because he just didn't sweat it. I ran out of time. You see, my friends, there comes a time when if you don't make the time, you will run out of time. So I've become clearer about saying, "Let's meet." I will not say it if I do not mean it. And if I do make the date with you, I will keep it. But it's also made my circle of those who matter smaller and tighter. Because the last thing I want to do is run out of time one more time. There comes a time when if you do not make the time, you run out of time. I ran out of time 4 times. 1 time too many. Don't let it happen to you. Thank you.